Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the English podcast with Mandy and Mark. It's great to have you all here. As always, we're here to help you navigate the exciting world of English. Remember, the more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
That's right, Mandy. Today, we're diving into a very practical topic that everyone can relate to. Asking for help in a store? We'll equip you with simple phrases and vocabulary to make your shopping experience much smoother.
Exactly. Whether you're looking for clothes, groceries, or electronics, knowing how to ask for help is essential. Stay tuned until the end for some interactive exercises where you can test your understanding. Don't forget to leave your answers in the comments section below. You know, Mark, shopping can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming, especially when you're in a new store or a different country.
I completely agree. Trying to find what you need and navigating unfamiliar surroundings can be challenging. It can be even harder when you're not sure how to ask for help in English.
Absolutely. But it's amazing how a few simple phrases can make a world of difference. For instance, just starting with "excuse me, could you help me" can go a long way.
Right. Being polite is key. You could also say something like, "I'm looking for," followed by the item you need. It's clear and direct.
Definitely. And if you need more specific information, don't hesitate to ask. For example, you could say, "Do you have this in a different size?" or "Could you tell me where the fitting rooms are?"
Those are really useful phrases, Mandy. It's also a good idea to be prepared with the right vocabulary. For instance, knowing the difference between aisle and shelf can be really helpful in a supermarket.
You're right. Knowing how to describe what you're looking for is essential. Don't be afraid to use gestures if you're struggling to find the right words.
Exactly. Pointing and using body language can be really helpful, especially if there's a language barrier. Most people are happy to help if they understand what you need.
Absolutely. And remember, it's okay to ask for clarification if you don't understand something. You can simply say, "Could you please repeat that?" or "Could you speak a little slower?"
Those are great tips, Mandy. It's all about being confident and not being afraid to ask. The more you practice, the easier it will become.
I remember when I first started traveling, I used to get so nervous about speaking English in stores. But I quickly realized that most people appreciate the effort and are really helpful.
I had a similar experience. It's amazing how a few successful interactions can boost your confidence. And remember, even if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. Just keep practicing.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language. The important thing is to keep trying and not get discouraged.
So, to recap, remember to be polite, use clear and simple language, don't be afraid to ask for clarification, and practice, practice, practice.
Great advice, Mark. Now, let's move on to some vocabulary that will come in handy when asking for help in a store.
Sounds good. Let's break down some of those useful words and phrases we used earlier.
Definitely. This will help you build your vocabulary even more and feel more confident in your next shopping trip.
Let's go.
All right, everyone, let's delve into some of the vocabulary we used earlier. It's always a good idea to have a notebook handy to jot down new words and phrases. Mark, why don't you start us off with our first word?
Sure thing. The first word is aisle, which is like a narrow passage between shelves in a store. For example, "Excuse me, where can I find the cereal? Which aisle is it in?"
Great one, Mark. Next up, we have fitting rooms, which are rooms in clothing stores where you can try on clothes before buying them. You might ask, "Could you tell me where the fitting rooms are, please?"
Perfect. Another useful word is clarification, which means to make something clearer or easier to understand. If someone says something you don't understand, you can say, "Could you please offer some clarification on that?"
Excellent. And how about overwhelmed? It describes the feeling of being overloaded or having too much to deal with. Like when you walk into a huge store and you don't know where to start.
Good one. Don't forget the word navigate, which means to find your way around a place. It's important to know how to navigate a new city or even just a large store.
Right. Remember, essential means absolutely necessary or important. For example, knowing how to ask for help is essential when you're in a foreign country. Now that we've covered some key vocabulary, let's move on to some exercises to test your understanding. Don't be shy. Share your answers in the comments section below. Ready for the first question, Mark?
Absolutely. Let's see. Where did Mandy say she used to feel nervous about speaking English?
Great question. And for our next question, what did Mark say is important to do even if you make a mistake while speaking English?
Okay, here's another one. What are two examples of phrases you can use to ask for clarification if you don't understand something?
And finally, can you remember what word Mark used to describe a narrow passage between shelves in a store? Great job, everyone! Today, we learned some really useful phrases for asking for help in a store. Remember, being polite, using clear language, and not being afraid to ask for clarification can make a world of difference.
And don't forget about the importance of practice. The more you use these phrases, the more confident you'll become.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more English learning content. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode, so feel free to leave a comment below. See you next time.